You're listening to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
The secret to well-being is discovering the power that is your birthright, the power to create a happier, healthier life, drawn from our own vast internal resources. Join Jules and her guests as they gently guide you to shift your perspective from the familiar negative to the divinely connected, a place that will not only positively impact your world, but possibly shift the planet. It's all right here on Law of Attraction Talk Radio.
Well, welcome to Law of Attraction Talk Radio. I'm Jules from beautiful Southern California, and oh my goodness, it is beautiful, but it is hot. We're in the teens here, like 115, 16. Keeps on going up, but we are in the middle of the summer, so this stands to reason. I am so glad you're joining me because I've got a good friend coming on and a fantastic Law of Attraction teacher. She has been trained by the best in the industry, and she is just full of all of this wisdom. She's just incredible, and I'm so glad that I can consider her to be a friend. Her name is Paula Kidd Casey, and she has a show on Law of Attraction Radio Network called The Lawyer of Attraction, and that's because she's a lawyer, but she has a great story. And you know what? We're going to get into that tonight to just give you the background of where she was at and why she decided there had to be something more to life and what she did to correct that. And in any case, she's pretty fabulous. You're going to love this interview. So stay with us. And no matter what's going on in the world tonight, you're going to get a little piece of tidbit that's going to help you get through everything. Well, shall I say this really weird time in history in the United States? I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon, but it is pretty interesting to sit back and just go, wow, what happened? We have totally changed. So in any case, sit back, relax, get a cool beverage, and enjoy this interview with Paula Kidd Casey and me. We'll be right back after these words.
It's here, it's hot, and it's a must read. It's the science behind the Law of Attraction magazine. Every issue brings you great articles and in-depth how-tos from all your favorite Law of Attraction experts, authors, scientists, and medical professionals. Go to lawofattractionmagazine.net. That's lawofattractionmagazine.net.
Did you know that every human uses only a small portion of their powerful mind? Jules Johnson, international certified hypnotherapist, wants to introduce you to your powerful mind in order to create your dream life. In as little as one session, Jules guides you into releasing limiting beliefs that keep you from achieving wealth, health, better relationships, and even true love. Schedule a session in Palm Springs or set up a Skype video session for those nationally and internationally. Jules would love to serve as your guide into living your dreams. Go to creativeguidedimagery.com or call 951-201-2166. That's creativeguidedimagery.com.
You're listening to the Law of Attraction Radio Network, heard by millions worldwide through 38 internet radio stations and in over 135 countries. Be sure to sign up for your monthly updates and get all the latest information on LOA radio events such as cruises, workshops, and seminars, as well as information on the latest shows, topics, and guests. Go to LOAradionetwork.com and sign up today.
Well, welcome back, Paula Kidd Casey, the lawyer of attraction, to Law of Attraction Talk Radio. I love it when you come on.
Oh my God, you're my favorite person in the whole world. You're the one that got me started on my radio show like 2 years ago. So thank you so much for letting me be on your show. I love
Oh,
it. I love you.
I love you too. I mean, we have so much fun together. And this year, we're planning a Law of Attraction convention in Las Vegas.
I am so excited about
And
that. You
Paula
have
Kidd
such
Casey is going to be on stage.
woohoo! I'm so excited. You have such good ideas and you carry them through. I mean, you started this in 2006, you started the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
Yeah.
And I'm just so proud of you and so pleased that I get to be a part of it. And you have such long range views and ideas. And I just want to thank you for showing up because 14 years ago, you started this. So you're amazing.
Well, and it keeps on growing. And that just means that I was kind of following the intuition that said people are not only wanting to hear it, but they need to hear it because truthfully, you are changing lives through your programs. And by the way, Paula, I want to talk about your programs because people need to know about them and how they can go fast in changing their lives. But first, do a backup. Tell us how you got involved in the law of attraction and why.
Well, it was probably close to the time you actually started the radio show, but I was a divorce attorney. I had been one for about 25 years. I was kick ass. I was good. I was mean, and it was killing me, right? I mean, the energy that you have to be in when you're competitive every single day, and you have to show up and you have to attack the other side. And I realize that's not exactly it, but you're still in a competitive situation. And in like 2005, I started having anxiety attacks. I thought I was having a heart attack. And I mean, literally ran to the hospital, think I'm dying. And it's a panic attack, which I've never had before. And it is the scariest thing. And it was because for years I'd been doing something that I didn't want to do, that my heart wasn't in, that my soul kept saying, stop this shit, quit doing this stuff. And it was a little whisper, and it would knock on my heart a little bit louder, and it would, talk to me a little bit more, my inner self, until it just started screaming at me. And that's how it got my attention, as I had anxiety attacks. And I didn't even know then what the law of attraction was. I had read the Celestine Prophecy in the 90s. You and I both go back that far. Loved it. Wasn't even quite sure how to wrap my head around it. Loved Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. So I was on this path, but I didn't even know what to call it. So back then I didn't even know what my questions were, let alone what the answers were. And so I started doing some research. As an attorney, that's kind of what I did. If you didn't know the answers, you did research and you did documentation. You had data, you had evidence before you could actually present anything to the court. And so I started doing information gathering, and I found cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a very good psychological program. It didn't really help me that much because I was real off the deep end, but it kind of led me to meditation, which led me to kind of the Buddhist way of life, which led me to Eckhart Tolle. And so from 2006, probably, had I only known to turn on your radio show, to probably 2011, 2012, I was just searching, trying to even find out what I was here for, right? What our purpose was. How important is that for us to know that? Not even really knowing how to define it. And what you and I both do is help people do a fast track, right? They don't have to go through 10 years of searching to figure out what their questions are, what the answers are, what the purpose is, how to actually attain that purpose. Because you and I have been able to succinctly put things together to help people. We're like tour guides down here on the earth, and we can offer our years and years of putting this information together. I have read hundreds of books. I have gone to dozens of seminars, and I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And it takes a while to transition, right? Because when you started in '06, it wasn't like it happened overnight. And one of the things I thought you said a minute ago was interesting. You know, they want this information, but they also need this information, but they don't necessarily even know that they need it, right? But there's that shiny object out there. There's something that gets their attention that makes them feel better. And right now, in what's going on in our world, we need something that makes us feel better in an immediate way, right? They don't need to have to study for 6 years to figure this out. And that's what's kind of brought me to where I am now, because I started doing, I became a certified trainer for Mike Dooley in like Notes in the Universe and Infinite Possibilities in 2011, got to know Mike real well. Decided I wanted to take it like to a corporate level and became a certified consultant for Bob Proctor in 2014 and started teaching his program. Loved it. Bob and I are good friends. But, you know, we grow, right? You know, the universe is either expanding or contracting. We all need to realize that. We all need to realize that we're not stagnant. When we are, we're actually going backwards.
Right.
And we all need to grow. And that's what you and I are here for. Every week we give you new ideas. We give you new options and opportunities to grow just a little bit, to think of something different in a different way, a different perspective. And so I decided I wanted to do my own program, which was a couple years ago, and I'd written a book. My book is on Amazon, The Lawyer and the Law of Attraction. I branded myself the Lawyer of Attraction, which a lot of people think that means like I'm a dating service.
Oh yeah, I guess it would.
Yeah, well, I'm not a dating service. You know, I help you attract things into your life. I suppose that could be
A man or a woman.
spouse, but that's not my forte. And I wrote a book, and I got that published in February of 2018. And then Jules found my book, woohoo, and had me on her radio show. And then a couple of months later, she called me back and said, I love you, you love me, and be on my radio program. So I have been on the network for almost 2 years. It's really coming up on my 2-year anniversary. Woohoo, I'm so excited we get to do this.
And I have noticed that the audience love you.
Oh, thank
your
you
numbers
so much.
keep on going up and up, your popularity. I think it's because, well, you are professional, but you're so down to earth.
Well, thank you.
And you're talking directly to the people, and you're letting them know that this is possible for everyone. It's just not special educated people. This is for everyone that can control their lives and learn how to manifest the dreams.
And what everybody needs to understand, and you and I both are always share this, is we don't necessarily go from 1 to 100 immediately. Not that you can't, but you know, Martin Luther King says you don't see the whole staircase, you just have to see the first step. And what everybody needs to do is be brave enough, you know, we got to be brave enough to take that first step. You know, I was just reading U Squared. It's a cute little book by Price Pritchard. It's on Amazon. He has a PhD in business. He's down in Texas. He teaches somewhere down in Texas. And it's a business model, a book. But basically, you know, he says, when we take steps, we only use the logical facts in our situation at the time. And all we're going to get is more of the same situation. We have got to take a leap to something that's unknown, that's challenging, that's different. It's just one step. We don't have to jump off the damn cliff. It's just one step. And it doesn't seem logical at the time, but if we could be brave and take that one step, you know, sign up for a program, get a book that looks unusual, you know, volunteer for something, one step that tugs at your heart. When you do that, the universe shows you the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step. And sooner or later, you look back and you say, oh, now I get it. You look back at it, it's logical. When you're looking forward at it, you don't know you don't know how to get there. You know, he says simple and elegant. The universe works with simple and elegant measures. It's not complicated, you guys. You don't have to have a PhD, like Jules said. You don't have to go through the years of searching it took me. You just have to know how to literally disrupt your normal life and take that first step and then the next step. And that's, you know, that's my passion, that's my purpose, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to share that on my platform, on my show. So thank you for letting me do that.
Well, my pleasure. The thing that I want to get across to people is, like you said, it doesn't happen overnight, because with every step that you take, you may be shifting or going around to find the true niche that you were put on this earth to find. So it does take a while to get precisely where you wanted. When I started the radio network, or even my show, I didn't know the terminology. I was going, what are they talking about? And so it had to, I had to just sit back and let the answers come to me, so that I could move forward.
And that's a great point, that when we're doing things, when we're active, that's us physically trying to change things. When we're quiet, then we have a higher self, we have something, the source that is actually going to give us some ideas. So we need to stay, I love that point, we need to stay in a quiet place so we can actually hear a bigger picture, right? So we can actually get different ideas. You know, Steve Jobs says you can never connect the dots going forward. And like you said, you take a step and you might go one way and you go, well, that's not the way I thought I was going to go. It doesn't necessarily look like you think it's going to look when you get there, but it's the perfect way to get there. So you can connect the dots going back. When you get to a certain point in your life, you look back, you go, oh, now I know what that horrible thing had happened to me, because you know, if I hadn't got divorced at that point in time, I wouldn't have met this person, and we wouldn't have the kids, and I wouldn't have gone to school. So, you know, it's staying in tune with that little voice that screams at you sooner or later if you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And you know, Jules and I, we both want to help you listen to that inner voice and take that first step. It's so much easier if you've got somebody holding your hand and kind of walking you through how to do that. And that's what I love doing. And that's
why I highly recommend the listeners to go to you for your programs. I don't do programs. That's not my forte. My forte is bringing people like you onto the show that the listeners can grab information and then go to them. So I want to just let the world know that Paula has the best programs.
Oh,
and I mean, she's a powerful, powerful speaker. I wish you could have seen her on the cruise, because wow, it was just like, holy cow, that was the best presentation I've ever seen. And you brought it all home with something that we knew from a long time ago, the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
But now you put it all together so that we can identify it. That's one of your strong points.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Because you're bringing it so that we can understand. And so many times we've got all these other things that are coming up. We don't understand. How is that applying to me? But that's where you come in, Paula. That's what makes life and the law of attraction so much easier to understand.
Well, and I love the metaphor of the Wizard of Oz. Number one, I'm from Kansas, and that's all anybody ever knows when I say I'm from Kansas. And number two, it really goes along well with the hero's journey, which is a Joseph Campbell philosophy about the monomyth, that we're all heroes in our own story, right? And we're all going on a journey. And the journey is we're trying to discover things about ourselves and our world. And on this hero's journey, just like in The Wizard of Oz, you get outside your comfort zone, which is what we just talked about. If you stay in your comfort zone, you will never grow, right? Because we're only just regurgitating everything we've ever learned. We have to get outside our comfort zone. That's the first step of this journey. And once you're outside this comfort zone, you're lost. You've never been there before. You know, you've never been outside the Shire, like in The Lord of the Rings. You've never been in Oz, like in Dorothy. You know, you've never been to Hogwarts if you're Harry Potter. All of the movies have the same plot, the hero's journey. So I help you figure out where you want to go, and let's take that first step into the unknown. I've got you, and we're going to figure this out together, but you've got to take that leap. And then the other thing in the hero's journey is, once you're outside your comfort level, once you're somewhere you've never been, you always find a mentor. You always find friends. That's part of this journey. The universe will show you a mentor. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. But you've got to get out of your comfort zone to get to another level, to know how important it is for you to grow. And then a mentor will appear. My program is there. You've got so many other amazing people on your shows that do that. But the mentor's going to show you how to get there. Because a mentor's been there before, right? A mentor knows the landscape. They know how to follow the yellow brick road. They know how to get, I don't even remember the metaphor in the Lord of the Rings. They know how to get the ring back. But you've got to have somebody that's going to lead you. And then you have to be brave. That's the next thing. You have to be brave and take a step and let your mentor show you the next step. But you've got to do that, because if you're not brave, if you don't say, this is more important to me than staying on the sofa, right? And we've been on the sofa a heck of a lot the last 3 or 4 months. This is the perfect time to learn to grow. Because we've seen what's important in our lives, right? We've had some empty space, some empty time in our lives. And so that there's something more out there. And so you take that next step. You need a mentor that helps you. You're going to reach obstacles. You're going to run into dragons. This is part of that story. You got to be brave, knowing that it's okay to be on the other side of that. Joseph Campbell says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. If we don't have the courage to go into a cave that we're afraid of, we will never find that treasure, the treasure that's inside of us, the treasure that literally takes it to the next level on the whole thing. So it's just a really fun way to do stuff. And so then once we know that, then we come back home. We come home to Kansas. We've had the power all along, my dear. We come back home to where we are, but we're different. We've changed. We've grown. We bring back this information to everybody that we have. And so that's really what my goal is. That's really what I'm thrilled to be able to share.
Well, what is so good about mentoring programs with the law of attraction is that you get to ask questions. If you don't understand, you can keep on asking. So you're going to get a clear understanding of what you can expect from you. You're going to be learning. I mean, to me, it's better than psychotherapy, because you're not really looking at all the, you're answering your own questions on how can I create the life that I want to lead. A psychotherapist can't help you with that, because they're not into the magical part of life, to tell you the truth.
I love that, because you don't need 30 years of therapy. You need to know the specific steps we need to take, because we are vibrating pockets of energy, and we are on a frequency, and the frequency is what we're putting out to the universe and what we are getting back in. And if we're thinking about all the bad things that happen in our lives, that's the frequency we stay in. And I know psychotherapy is good for a lot of things, but rehashing the same thing that's happened in your life over and over again after a certain point doesn't help. One of the things I teach in my program is at the very end, we rewrite our stories. We rewrite our life. We take something that's happened in our past that we thought was a negative, and we rewrite it out of a sense of gratitude. We are so happy that this happened to us, because if that hadn't happened, this next thing wouldn't have happened. And it is transformational for my clients that have done that. They take something where they think they were a victim in their past lives, and they have been trying to overcome it for years. And when we reframe it, right, we have a different perspective. We say there's a reason, there's a bigger picture, let's look at it. And they rewrite that negative thing that happened in their past. It changes their whole lives, because they look at it different, right? We can change our past. Because if we look at it different, it changes the way we look at everything in our past different. And then it changes the way we react to things in our future. right now in our present. And that's what I love right now. I love talking about what we can do right now in the present moment. Because like you said, we're not going to change necessarily overnight, but here's what we can do immediately. We can choose to disrupt our normal routine, which is normally negative, right? We are listening to the news. We are upset about stuff. We feel frustrated. We got to stop it and take a big deep breath and literally quiet our minds. So we're disrupting our norm, and that's what my new program is about. Can I tell you about my new program?
Oh, yeah.
I'm so
Sounds
excited.
fabulous.
Yeah, and it's fun and it's easy, and I have some that are much more intense, but this one is such a good first blush, and it is fun and it is affordable, and it's literally, I have a transformational toolkit that I send you, and they're different tools and they're fun. I'm very tangible. You know, I'm a logical attorney. I need to hold something, but it reminds us to do things. So my new program basically takes us from being anxious to assured in literally a split second. How many of us are anxious all day, every day? We look around at what's going on. We're not sure what's happening. And what does that do? That makes us feel that we're in fear. We're in doubt. You know, we don't know what's going to happen. We're uncertain. And all that does is just make us feel worse all day, every day. So anxiousness is because we are letting outside conditions dictate to us how we are going to think and feel. And I want us to go from being anxious and not letting outside conditions actually control what we do to actually going into being assured that everything's okay, that the universe has our back, you know, assured that we are going to be fine because we know where our power comes from. Our power comes to and through us from source. It has nothing to do with outside media or politics. And when we understand this power that comes to and through us and how to access that, and the only way we can access that is in the current moment, is in the present moment. And most people go, I'll do it tomorrow. Let me find out more information. But my program is, I teach you how, as many times a day as we possibly can, we leave ourselves cues and clues. And they are, I send out little bracelets, now bracelets. Every time you see it, you take a big deep breath, quiet your mind, and just reach for gratitude. I have now stickers that you put on the back of your phone. Every time you see it, take a big deep breath. And I'm just trying to disrupt your subconscious mind. You know that our subconscious mind controls what we do 95% of our day. And our subconscious mind is usually programmed on lack and fear and scarcity. And that's all we're going to get back. I am trying to teach us, and I do teach, that we disrupt that subconscious mind. Every time we see one of these cues, I have darling things. I have these glow in the dark stars. So when you turn off you're in bed and you turn off your lights, you literally see these little stars. It reminds you to appreciate what you had that day and to take a big deep breath before you go to bed. Just be in gratitude. So it's amazing. There's like 8 or 10 little things I send out with my transformational toolkit that I walk you through how we use those all day, every day to disrupt your normal routine of fear and lack and scarcity. We don't feel like we have any control. We feel like everything outside of us is controlling us. And that is the farthest from the truth. And then I help us figure out how we reach for gratitude, right? Because it's hard if you don't think there's anything to be grateful for. There's so much to be grateful for. We start talking about that, you know, and then we talk about joy on demand. And so I don't know, I've got my joy behind me. I love joy.
I see it.
We're going to learn how to quiet our minds and reach for joy on demand, joy in the moment. It's a moment to moment thing. And if you can go from anxious to being joyful, I mean, how important is that? And then the very next thing is we start fashioning your passion. We're going to figure out when you're in a better feeling place, we're going to really and truly figure out how we're going to take your lives to the next level. And it's fun and it's easy to do. And then at the very end, I actually do a coaching session one-on-one with you, and we figure out what your passion is and how you can take the next steps. So that is my new program. I love it. I am so excited that Jules let me be on to talk to people about it. I've had
Tell me what is the name of the program?
It's going from anxious to assured.
Oh, that's good.
We're gonna take you from being anxious in this time frame to being assured, because Jules, you and I both know this is such an unusual time for us.
Unusual, weird. It's real weird.
Weird. Some of the memes that are on Facebook, but I have disowned or disfriended anybody that does not make me feel joyful on Facebook. I have taken apps off of Facebook. I don't watch the news. You guys, we can be aware of what's going on, but not be focused on it. Because the more we're focused on it, the more we're playing into the fears, and the more we're playing into outside circumstances. I'd been on your show before and we talked about the whimper factor. Can I go over that with you real quick?
Sure.
Okay. So, that we either react to outside circumstances, which is what we do 99% of our day. Something outside of us happens. There's an immediate, we get pissed off. We have a knee-jerk reaction. Something has happened. And literally something outside of us has dictated what we think and what we feel. And that is the frequency that we're on. That is what we're putting out to the universe, and that is what we're getting back. So we are getting more fear. We're getting more lack and scarcity. We're getting more uncertainty. We're getting more out of control because we're allowing outside circumstances to dictate how we think and feel. And what we need to do is take control of that. We need to learn to respond from the inside out. I refuse to allow somebody else to tell me how I'm supposed to feel about myself. I refuse to accept anybody else's opinion of how I'm supposed to think or feel or how I'm supposed to react, because we are spiritual beings that are attached to source, and we get to decide how we think and how we respond. And we have 6 intellectual faculties that most of us don't even know that we have. Most of us think we have our 5 senses. We look at what's happening and we're in fight or flight, and we're either something outside of us is going to make us react. We have 6 intellectual faculties. We have will, imagination, memory, perception, intuition, and reason. And I put those into the acronym of whimper. Because when you understand you have those 6 intellectual faculties and something outside of you happens, you can learn to respond with those. Let's say your imagination. You see something out there, you can use your imagination. You can say, I'm not going to assume that something bad is going to happen. I'm going to assume that something amazing is going to happen. We use our imagination every second of every day to figure out what's going to happen in the future. We normally use it in a negative way, right? Oh my God, everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket. We can use our imagination to imagine, oh my God, things are going to be so much better. There's peace, there's jobs, there's security, there's health. There's health. We can use our imagination to imagine that. Our intuition, you talked about that. If we can quiet our minds and literally attach to that higher self, that little voice is going to be talking to us and telling us what to do. Memory, we can use our memory. We can say, oh, something bad has happened right now, but I can remember in the past, I used another aspect to deal with that. So when we learn that we have so much power because we are attached to source, if we would just quiet our minds, and that we have these 6 intellectual faculties that we can learn to respond to the outside world from the inside out. I can choose joy. I can choose optimism. I can choose hope. I am not going to choose fear. I am not going to choose what they are telling me to choose. I refuse to do that. And you refuse to do that. So, what we teach, the law of attraction, is so powerful. Jules, why don't we teach this in school?
That's a great question. I like to know why we don't. I mean, literally, you could change the future. But I want to go back a step because I absolutely believe that just around the corner, it's going to be absolutely outstanding.
I do too. Woohoo!
You feel the same way.
Yes.
I see the finances, I see the incomes, I see the jobs, more jobs than I've ever seen before. I just see a totally new world. I feel it in my gut. I know that this is happening. And what we're living through right now is showing us what it can be in the future. I mean, we're all dreaming together.
I love that because we're seeing what we don't want, right?
Yeah.
We have the law of polarity, which is one of the natural laws of the universe. It's showing us what we don't want. So it's projecting this huge thing on what we do want. And I have had, I don't know, in the last 3 months, I probably had, I don't know, 6 to 8 people that channel. I don't channel. I mean, I know we kind of do, but really that have connections that you know, talk to God, angels, spirit guides, and every single one to a T has said, we are coming into this conscious awareness and it's not going to be that much longer and it's going to be so much better. Don't you hear that from all your people?
Yeah. I mean, I just feel it.
I know, and you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel it's going to be. I have no worries about the future. But like you said, we have to go through this so that we can even appreciate the future.
And the one thing that we can do, because we go, what can we do? Oh my God, what can we do? Well, you know, I'll tell you, the one thing we can do is when we learn to control our frequency and our emotion and put out positive energy and put out joy and help other people and leave everyone with the impressive increase, that puts a ripple out, right? You know, Malcolm Gladwell wrote The Tipping Point, and he said you only need 2 to 3% of the population to get what's called critical mass.
Right.
2 to 3% of the population to do one particular thing before the whole rest of the population takes over. Well, you guys, we need to be part of that 2 to 3%, and it needs to be positive, and it needs to be love, and it needs to be inclusive. And when we are that way and we put this out, you know, Abraham Hicks, I don't know, do you listen to her, them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I always have. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure what pronoun to ever use, but I love her. But, you know, Abraham says that one person in alignment in the vortex is more powerful than millions of them outside of it in a negative vibration. And the best thing we can do is learn how to moment by moment be in this positive vibration and send it out to other people. It changes your home, it changes your community, it changes your state, it changes your environment, it changes everything. And that's what you and I are here to do. Woo-hoo.
That's right. But I want to go back a step because it seems like to do everything you said, it would make you inhuman. Because we did come here to experience the lower emotions in order to reach the upper emotions.
Right.
But the point that you're trying to make is you don't stay in the lower emotions.
Perfect.
Move
right.
forward. And that's the point. We're going to be human. We're going to go back. I slip backwards all the time, but then I have to pick myself up as soon as I recognize it.
Well, and most people, they don't even know they're thinking negative thoughts. They think it's normal because we don't know what we don't know. If we're not aware that we are controlled by our subconscious mind and our past conditioning and outside influences, we don't even know that we can change it. And you are so right. A negative emotion is not necessarily bad. It shows us what we don't want, right? And if we can use it to use our law of polarity, say, what is the exact opposite of this? This is making me feel sad or angry. What is the exact opposite? I'm going to use the law of polarity. And you're going to think of the exact opposite and you're going to start, you can decide to right that moment, at least for a moment, feel a better feeling thought. Not that you're not going to slide back, we all do. But we don't even necessarily know how to stop that downward spiral, right? You see something, it makes you feel bad, and you see something else and it makes you feel worse. And you don't even know how to get out of that hamster wheel. And, you know, that's what I would like to help people do is learn to disrupt this negative self-talk and the negative environment just for a moment. Because the only time we have is the now, you know, now is the only time there really ever is. We can't think a thought except in the now. The now is the only time we can take action. The now is the only time we can plan for the future. And so we need to learn how to control that. Eckhart Tolle's book, have you read that, Jules, The Power of Now?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's, I mean, every paragraph is like, oh my God, I could do a thesis on this paragraph. It was mind blowing to me because I really hadn't been introduced to that before. So that's a great book for people to read too, on the whole thing regarding that.
So we came here to be human, but we came here to manifest our own lives. And we came here to discover that no matter what's going on in the world, we're not victims. We are not victims. We have the power. Ever since we were a little baby, we have the power to create our futures. And babies first learn that by crying, and they got
Yes.
their needs taken care of. We can do the same thing right now, just as you did as an infant. We
Yes.
can do what we want, but unfortunately those babies had to yell and scream to get what they want. Well, we don't have to. We kind of matured, I hope. But it is time to realize that, hey, the future, our future, is up to us.
And, we can't ever let anybody dictate. Nobody can ever make me feel bad enough to make them feel better about themselves. And we cannot play into that. Nobody is a victim. But until we are aware of the power that we possess, it's hard to get by that. And just if you can learn it, and then you teach your kids, and then, it ripples out on the whole thing. And, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if we can get a little bit higher up than, fighting in the gutter, we see that we're all spiritual beings. We are all attached. We are all the same energy. We came from source, we go back to source. If we could get a little bit higher up, understanding we're all spiritual beings, that is, I'm listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations in the mornings. He has an app called Game Change. That's what and it's amazing. There's a meditation in the morning, there's a meditation at night. But he's kind of like, quiet your mind, and you're going to get into this, energy. Everybody's the same energy. I'm reading Lynn McTaggart's book, The Field, and she talks about the 0 point field, that we're all just this energy field. We are energy fields, and we are attached to each other. And when I push against the field, you in Palm Springs, it is affecting you around there. If we could only understand the power that we have, we can bring our society, our community, to such a kinder, more loving, more productive, more creative. I love that word, level, because right now we're competing for energy. And we don't need to compete for energy. We create energy. Energy flows to and through us from source. And when we learn how to do that, we don't have to compete for energy outside of us anymore.
So, Paula, I know that you're a grandma. I'm a grandma. How do you express the law of attraction to your grandkids?
That's a great question. And in fact, my grandkids are going to be coming over here. They may be jumping in just a second. They're in town this week. So, they express it to me. So my little 5-year-old, he had one of these, it looks like a Rubik's Cube, but it's round, and you push it in, you have to get all the colors to match together.
Yeah.
But there's one that's empty, right? You have to have one that's empty. So he's in the back seat and he goes, Grandma, do you know that you have to have an empty space in your life before you can move?
Wow.
You have to have something empty before you can move into it. You can't have your life so full and your head so full that that there's not space to learn something new and to grow. And he's saying, you have to have space in your life, Grandma, before you can move. I went, oh my God. They teach.
Brilliant.
I know. Brilliant. They teach me because they're small and they're young and they have wonderful parents. It's the older people. I have a son who I adore. But I have tried to say the words to them, and it's not words. It's the energy that you send out. It's the love that you send out. You can't lower yourself to the level of somebody that's in a negative mood. You stay in a positive mood and you get them to come up to you. So it is a good question. If people aren't ready to hear about the law of attraction, you can talk all you want to, and it's going to go over their head. When they're ready, they're going to show up, and then you can you tell them one thing and then the next thing. But don't you love kids? I mean, they're just the most amazing things. How do you tell your grandkids about it?
I found that they tell me about it, and
I
that,
know.
well, I have older grandkids. I mean, my oldest grandson is 25, and then, well, they have started understanding it. And so it's like I'm getting a breath of fresh air from them.
Oh,
And
that's so
it's
wonderful.
wonderful because I've been doing this for 14 years. Of course, they're going to pick it up. Goodness, thank goodness. So, yeah, I'm thrilled about that. Um, but the kids do teach us if we just sit back. And I love the example you gave with your grandchild. That is a powerful, powerful.
And this is what I do when they say something, I write it down. I've got some little 5x8 recipe cards, because number one, we always forget them, and number two, really, they're messages from God. They're angels talking through them or something.
Wow. Yeah.
It's amazing. When my 8-year-old grandson, he was about 3, I was up at his house, and we always got up early. First thing in the morning, I'd hear his little feet on the floor, and I'd jump up, and he and I would play together. And one morning, I had been thrown up all night. I'm sick as a dog. Everything's spinning. I was not drunk. I had the flu or something. And he comes down. He looks at me eye to eye, and I said, "Honey, I'm just sick. I just can't get up right now." He goes, "That's okay, Grandma. I'll come play with you." And he goes out and he gets a box lid, 2 dinosaurs, and a charge card that you use for a little, a little fake charge card.
Oh, yeah.
He comes in and he sits on the bed, and we are playing dinosaurs that need to have a charge card for something, a credit card for something. And, he goes, "It's okay, Grandma. We'll just, play with you here." And so I'm thinking, he's perfect. He's living in the now. He's using whatever objects he has in the present moment. He's reaching for joy. He's not judging me. He's not saying this is a bad thing. We made a wonderful morning of it. So they teach me to stay in the now, right? They teach me to reach for joy. We're so blessed to have kids in our lives. I'm so thankful for them.
And that's kind of like it's important to recognize that gift in everybody, because with everyone, we are learning what we want to do, where we want to go, and what we don't want.
I love that. I think that's
wonderful. We can see that everybody is important in our lives.
I think that's wonderful. And Jules, I love being on your show. I am so sorry we got started a little late. I have got to go. I've got another thing I've got to do at 1:00, but I want to thank you so much for letting me be on your show.
Oh, my pleasure. And everybody's going to love it. And please give your website address.
Oh, that'd be great. So Paula, you can reach me at paula@lawyerofattraction.com or paula@paulakiddcasey.com, either one of those. I've got a YouTube channel. I've got a Facebook page, and I'm on Amazon. If you put my name in, or The Law Year of Attraction, you get my book. Get a hold of me. I would love to talk to you about my new program. Like I said, it's brand new. It is life-changing. It is easy. It is fun. So just message me at paula@lawyerofattraction.com, and I would love to get back with you right away, because it is fun and it is transformational. And Jules, thank you so much for letting me be on the show.
I love it. Thank you, Paula.
I love you, and I love that you have this platform for us, and I love that you've allowed me to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Paula. And that is it for the week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with another great show from Law of Attraction Talk Radio. If you'd like to comment on tonight's show, send an email to jules@loaradionetwork.com, and have a great week.